Hello everybody and welcome to another Batman 1966 review. Today it is Season 1 Episode 8, Rats Like Cheese, which is Part 2 of Instant Freeze. And George Sanders is once again back as the guest star as Mr. Freeze. So I have mixed feelings about this episode. It's actually my least favorite one that I've watched so far. The episode tries to be a little bit more serious than other episodes, which I appreciate, but it's like it doesn't go all the way. It only goes halfway. There's still a corny element. And when you mix them together, although I appreciate the attempt, it just feels a little bit off. But I think the episode is still worth watching for fans. So we start with our cliffhanger, and Batman actually doesn't save Robin and himself this time. We start where they are frozen in the hospital, and they are saved basically because their body temperatures are returned to normal. So I did kind of appreciate that somebody else had to save them. It shows their humanity. So, of course, Mr. Freeze got away with the princess's diamond from the last episode, and he does learn that Batman and Robin are still alive, so he has a new plan, which involves kidnapping this baseball player who was in the last episode as well, and basically there's going to be an exchange where Batman gives himself up and the player will be released. So a typical exchange plot. So the exchange does happen, and Batman is captured by Mr. Freeze's henchmen. So the henchmen did something right. I guess that's something positive in this episode. So at this point, Mr. Freeze has Batman, and he takes away his utility belt, which is good because we learn that Batman has to rely on something else, his smarts, as we'll find out. And there's this conversation between them, and it's a pretty interesting conversation. I would say it's decent, but not great. Again, it tries to be a little dark and serious, but it only goes halfway, in my opinion. We learn that Mr. Freeze still has a vendetta. He blames Batman for what happened to him. And he makes that pretty clear. And Batman does come after him a couple times, but he fails because he can't stand the cold in the room, or so we think. And I have to say the effects are interesting again, with half of the room being red, representing the heat, and the other half looking very, very cold. Pretty interesting effect. So after this, we learn that Robin was also taken, which is a little bit contrived, but I guess we'll just go with it. And then there's more talking. There's actually quite a bit of dialogue and exposition in this episode, making it a little bit more slow-paced than most. And Batman pleads with Mr. Freeze to try and get help, and of course Mr. Freeze doesn't want to hear about it. The usual kind of stuff. So little by little, Mr. Freeze decides he's going to take away the hot area in the room. It gets smaller and smaller, and eventually there's not room for both Batman and Robin. So Batman basically jumps out and takes Mr. Freeze down, and we learn that he had some kind of thermal shorts on that made him immune to the cold, which is really a plot device that comes out of nowhere, but I guess we'll just go with it. It shows how smart Batman is. But one thing I don't get is, I guess Batman was faking the other two times when he tried to take him down and was affected. Why do this? Did he need to know more of the plan? He could have just taken him down sooner. I know the episode needed this to happen, so we'd get 25 minutes, but this seems kind of like a contrived plot point when Batman could have taken him out a lot sooner, at least in my opinion. So eventually they warm the room more and more, now leaving only a small cold area for Mr. Freeze to survive, and so the tables have been turned, and the henchmen come in, and we get a pretty interesting fight again. It's pretty entertaining, but I have to say the silly tone of the fight kind of contrasts the seriousness of the episode. But it's fine. Maybe the episode needed something light to happen. So eventually all the villains are caught as the police come in to help out. So basically we get a happy ending, and we do get to see the princess and the baseball player again at the end of the episode, which was fine. But overall, I just feel like this episode's a mix of elements that kind of work and kind of don't work. And the episode doesn't seem to be quite as fun as a lot of the other episodes, although I do appreciate the attempt to give Batman and Mr. Freeze some backstory and do something a little more serious. So I have mixed feelings on Rats Like Cheese, and I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 5. But if you're a fan of Mr. Freeze and want to see what he was like in the 60s, I would still recommend this episode. Others may want to pass. So 2.5 out of 5 for Rats Like Cheese, and as always, thank you very much for watching.